All right.
We're on.
Jimmy, you are interrupting me on my Aloha vacation. Apparently, we have some
Aloha.
breaking news.
Yeah. So, look, first of all, everybody's trying to break news. There's a lot of people that need to stay in their lane, stick to returning shoes, working on MBAs, stealing people's collaborations. Big tent guy, but stay in your lane. So, PPA has suspended, or excuse me, terminated the contracts of James Ignatowich, Ryan Fu, and Vivian Glozman
Wait, the guys that
um,
were just in Japan?
that are still in Japan.
Okay.
They've terminated their contracts for essentially participating in unsanctioned events. So what they did was they went over there. I actually have the advertisements. Maybe we'll post them. I'm sure people have seen them. But they were advertising that they were doing PPA tour clinics, essentially using the PPA tour's name. Um, and they were saying that they were calling them PPA tour pro clinics, which I guess that's not technically wrong, but could be a little bit misleading. Um, Using their name, and then they were charging admission to watch these exhibitions
Okay.
as well. And so I guess that is in violation of their contracts. They didn't get permission before going over there per the PPA. And so they've terminated their contracts. This is very similar to what happened with Kwang Duong,
Very
QD.
reminiscent to QD situation.
Yeah, now QD played in an event. He played in an event with his brother over there. They lost super early. It, you may ask, like, rumors are they lost on purpose because they knew that the later rounds. In fact, I know they lost on purpose because they knew that the later rounds would be broadcast.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, they ended up basically PPA is saying we're paying $30 million a year in contracts. We're paying for your exclusivity. We're not going to compete. I guess there was a Japanese broadcast partner over there, and then another Japanese, I guess, tour that they've been talking to. And they reached out to PPA and said, "Hey, are these your players over here?" And they were this other Japanese pickleball federation is kind of a competing federation with the people that the PPA were talking to. So the whole thing's kind of a mess. But Tyler, what this means, okay? First of all, Paris Todd was also there, and allegedly Paris Todd requested permission. She was given permission to participate in certain parts of this, but she didn't specifically. It sounds like she kind of left a few things out, we'll say. But because she was given some permission, the PPA has not terminated her contract, and
Okay.
they're trying to figure out exactly what the punishment or repercussions will be. Um, Rumors that I've heard is up $50,000 fine and up to a 2 event suspension.
Does that go to Hunter's salary next year?
Yeah, I think that actually goes to the divorce court. It is kind of wild too that it's Ignatowich and Glozman. They're freaking whatever doing their thing and broke up, basically ruined James's career, if you want to be honest. Um, Ryan Fu, who's kind of wild. Paris Todd. I mean, definitely a motley crew over there. Those four, but
So my question is,
we may have an
unlike the QD
international
sit
relations incident.
unlike the QD situation where QD, to our knowledge, was warned multiple times, probably two, three, maybe more than three times. Do you
Excuse
know
me.
if these guys were warned specifically to not do this stuff?
So I don't think that they. It doesn't sound like they were. However, here's one. Just we said this on the pod a
Bro, you
while
doing
ago.
the red light therapy, or you in the red light district?
There's maybe both. I'm in Amsterdam. There's actually a car backing up, and he's getting really close to me, and it's making me nervous. Uh, so here's the thing: we said this on the pod. Okay, Daniel De La Rosa had his contract um, terminated, right, for playing in an event in Mexico. I think it was a racquetball event and skipping a
Yeah.
slam. Okay, I feel like that's a warning. Kwang Duong, right? We saw him go play an event. I feel like that was a warning. So it just seems like that there's a wide variety of things that, PPA's made it very clear that they're not going to allow people to do this.
Yeah.
They're not going to allow people to continually do all of these things. Um, but the one thing that I will say is that, sorry, someone started walking up to my window. Um, but here's the one thing that I'll say. Okay, let's just call it what it is. James Ignatowich is scheduled to make 300,000+ this year, right? Vivian
Yes,
Glozman,
because he did not renegotiate,
he did
correct?
not renegotiate and sign a new deal, right? Vivian Glozman is playing MLP only. She never renegotiated from the very original Tour Wars deal. She never renegotiated. She's going to make $200,000 this year. Ryan Fu, I don't know what deal he's on, but worst case scenario, say he makes 50.
Mhm.
The PPA just saved themselves $550,000. So I mentioned this on the pod before. I said if you didn't take that new contract, right? And if you're not a top player, you better dot your I's and cross all of your T's. And you better make sure you're doing every single thing that is in your contract. Because at the end of the day, if I'm trying to save money and I'm trying to cut costs, this is a very easy way to do it.
Yeah.
And, they find, rumors are they find Tina Pisnik. They cut Daniel De La Rosa. There's things out there. I mean, there's other players that receive letters saying that they didn't complete their clinics and their MLP days and things like that. Like, again, it makes sense for PPA to do this. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but if you're trying to cut money and you're trying to, you know, help the bottom line, this is a really quick, easy way to do it. With that
Yeah.
also being said, in talking with people at PPA, they feel like, exclusivity is their biggest asset, the exclusivity of these players, because there are millions of competing tours all around them, right? Global Pickleball League, there's APP, there's all these tours, there's Australia. And so they want the best players in the world, and they feel like they're paying a premium to keep those players.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if these players can come back and re-sign the newer contracts. If you know what I'm saying, if there's going to be legal repercussions, I have no idea.
Yeah, the only question, and I mean, I for sure understand where PPA is coming from. I mean, we as players, PPA, they signed, they entered a contract, so you need to uphold that contract. The only difference is that you mentioned is say somebody, one of the players, they're making 25,000 because there are some players that are signed for a very small amount. And
For
so
sure.
these players, they need to do something else in order to sustain, to be able to pay to compete on the tour. And so that's where they get in this gray areas where they start doing these clinics, these exhibition matches, and everything like that. If everybody, if Ryan Fu was making $1 million, I'd hope that he'd never even consider doing stuff like that. James Ignatowich, I feel like, I mean, he's James, so who knows what he'd do.
Well, look, bro, the reality is this, okay? This was a way for James to promote his paddle brand.
Yes.
I mean, he
Did you
gave
see? Did you
away.
see the? Did you see the tweet that
Yeah,
he
look, he's
made?
going to capitalize on this. They literally added a discount code for today because they know that they're in the news right now, right?
Yeah.
But he also was giving away like 100 free paddles at his 100 free paddles at his like at the clinic.
Gotcha.
So, I mean, yeah, this is just a way for him to do that. Like by going to Japan and maybe for him he's like, fine, I'm just going to go over there like Kwong did and I'm just going to try and, market to Asia and that's where the future is. That's possible.
Gotcha.
But yeah, like again, like I said, it is a gray area and I think players should be able to use their NIL, their name, image and likeness, right? Like you are the brand. PPA helps with that brand, but you still own your own personal brand. But the question becomes, can you charge for events? Can you, promote PPA, say where it says PPA Tour Player Clinic? Like, I don't know. Like, that's where the question comes into play, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, lots of question marks. But yeah, I mean, this news, you broke it in our Discord very first thing this morning. Then I don't know, 4, 5, 6 hours later, all these other news sources started picking it up. But yeah, it was a pretty big shock to the system. I don't think anybody saw this one coming.
Yeah.
If people had to guess, they could maybe guess one of those players, but all those 3, 4 players that were meant, 3 players that were mentioned, I think a lot of people would have been very surprised on.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's interesting because, I mean, there's a lot of stuff out there saying, well, Paris, Paris is more valuable. That's why she didn't get in as much trouble. But it sounds like Paris is the one that asked for permission.
Mhm.
So I think that that's PPA's way of being like, look, we're not being completely unreasonable about this, you know. So yeah, it's interesting, and there's going to be some other stuff that comes out. I promise you, I've already heard rumors that, that James and Ryan have said that they did ask for permission, or that they didn't actually, they haven't even actually done the exhibition yet. They've
Uh-huh.
only taught the clinics. Um, Now I can't imagine they're going to cancel the exhibition at this point, but I also heard that there was actually another player that was supposed to go instead of Paris, and that player backed out last minute. Did she back out because she felt like maybe
She knew
it
what was
was
going on, so she
she knew what was
took a
going
step
on? It
back.
was fishy. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to unravel. So we'll
Gotcha.
keep everybody updated when we find out more. Yeah, I mean, it is interesting, but like I said, like if you didn't sign that new deal, I mean, look, this is just like I mean, it's good business sense anyways, but you better know the ins and outs of your contract.
Yeah.
So
Gotcha. All right. Well, this is bringing back memories, good and bad, from Tour Wars, where we were. I felt like doing multiple of these breaking episodes, emergency podcasts. What felt like
yeah,
2 times a day. So
yeah, but
m-
have fun in Hawaii.
maybe the next time I'll do it, I'll be surfing on a surfboard. You know, that one guy
Yeah.
that does his Zoom meetings from the motorcycle and the
Oh yeah.
helicopter and
Yeah,
everything.
be that guy.
Okay.
So
All right.
okay.
Thanks, Jimmy, for keeping us updated. We'll see you guys next time.